favorite authors is Brene Brown, and the first time I was introduced to her was when I heard her TED Talk about vulnerability, because someone who'd recently read my Theology of Ministry paper told me I had to listen, and so I did. She was speaking to my heart, to the roots of my theology, to what it is I believe about humanity, about relationship, about God, and about resurrection. And that is that connection is why we are here. That each and every one of us has a deep longing to be known, to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved fully. And that there is this thing that gets in the way of connection called shame. Each of us has experienced this feeling of I'm not enough, not good enough, not fill in the blank enough, and that the only way to break through our shame in order to be connected is vulnerability. But if we don't believe we are worthy of love and belonging because shame tells us that we aren't blank enough, then it's impossible to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. For me, this is where our faith as Christians saves us. This is where the story of resurrection intercedes and breathes life into what feels like a dark and lonely pit of disconnection, to pull us out and reconnect us to God, to one another, and to ourselves, to the person that God created us to be. Because from the beginning in Genesis, throughout the Bible, we hear that God created us in God's image, to live in connection with our Creator and the whole of creation, and that God knows each of us by name. In Isaiah 43, we hear, "He who created you, O Jacob, he who formed you, O Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. I will be with you." In John 10, we hear that like the Good Shepherd, God knows each of his sheep and calls them by name and would leave all of the rest of them to find the one that was lost. In Jeremiah 1 and Isaiah 49 and Psalm 139, we hear that God has known us before we were even born and called us by name from our mother's womb. And in John 20, verses 11 through 16, we meet Mary, broken and devastated in the garden. And Jesus calls her by name and brings her heart and her soul back to life. Each of us has a longing to be seen, to be heard, to be known intimately, and to be loved wholly, to be called by name and feel alive and connected, and to feel that we belong. And this Sunday, as our Easter series continues, I will share with you why I believe in Easter, because I know that God calls me by name.